Hey everybody, welcome into Indianapolis and Lucas Oil Stadium, the home of a fourth consecutive Big Ten championship for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Almost certainly going to punch a college football playoff bid as well for the Buckeyes. That's a conversation for tomorrow. Today, it was 22-10 over Northwestern. I don't think that's the kind of game, Berm, that anybody really expected, but it's still a rapid reaction brought to you by Byers Auto of a Buckeyes win in a title game. That feels pretty familiar. Everything else was a little more strange.
Yeah, and at the risk of pissing people off, because I say this pretty much every week, a win is a win is a win is a win in 2020. And yes, the Buckeyes should have played better. Like, they're not going to make excuses for that first half. Basically, for those first three quarters, Justin Fields had excuses he could have made. The Buckeyes have excuses they could have made. Playing without their first three safeties, for example, could have been an excuse. But, you know, the defense rose to the occasion in the second half. Trey Sermon, had the best day any Ohio State running back has ever had, and that is not hyperbole. The single best day in Ohio State football history as a running back. And sometimes you just have to get through it. And it seemed like I was joking all week. I'm like, I love Pat Fitzgerald and what Northwestern. They play very good, solid football. They are not as good as Ohio State. This is one of those games where you see it. Like, the Buckeyes got outplayed today. They probably got out-coached, and they won by 12 points against a pretty good team.
Yeah, and when you say a win is a win, that goes doubly when there's a trophy on the line, a championship. They're not going to come easily, and then you throw the fresh batch of adversity in it. You know, you heard Ryan Day bring this up as they're tearing down and getting ready for the Colts tomorrow, moving on quickly. You would have never known that by not taking the logos off the field today, but I digress.
So to speak.
Yeah, so you look at this, and Ryan Day hinted at that some of the changes they had to make came late in the week. They knew Chris Olave was going to be out. They had planned for that. Jackson Smith and Jigba, who was also on the availability report on Saturday morning, that's another big piece. You have to assume that he was going to be playing a lot more snaps for the Buckeyes as they were practicing for this game. So you take those pieces out. You take Baron Browning out of the equation. You lose a punter, which credit to Zach Hoover for stepping up in a walk-on situation. We can name a bunch of guys who did that.
And that happened on Friday.
Yes.
So the Buckeyes lost their punter on Friday. Today, they walk into the stadium today and expect Marcus Hooker and Ronnie Hickman to play, and then both of them can't play because of injuries. They're not the COVID issues, but then you're all of a sudden, well, what do we do now? It's just been this curse of 2020, and everyone's dealing with it, and the Buckeyes just keep fighting through it. I don't think that people can truly understand how difficult these situations are when you've played 3 games in the last 6 weeks and you just really have no idea from day to day who's going to play.
So the offense was losing those key pieces, and Chris Olave is one of the best wide receivers in America. Baron Browning is one of the most valuable playmakers that Ohio State can have because he can play so many different positions, which he proved 2 weeks ago at Michigan State. Drew Crispin, we know his value on special teams. The coaching staff, Brian Hartline and Al Washington were not here. So all 3 phases and 2 key members of the coaching staff were not here. So nobody in that locker room down there is going to complain about 22-10. They just simply are not.
All right, you look at Brian Hartline, for example, who's been out, we believe, since like Monday. And you have 2 new receivers in Julian Fleming and Jamison Williams who really have to step up. And they're not being coached by their coach all week long. And these things matter. I understand. There is the fan side of Ohio State football, which is the Buckeyes are the best team in the country every year, most talented. It shouldn't matter that much, but things do matter. And, kudos to Trey Sermon. As I said, Master T got hurt in the game, and Trey had to step up, and obviously he did. Justin Fields played his worst game as a Buckeye. The defensive line down 2 defensive ends, Tyler Friday, Javonte Jean-Baptiste not playing. Justin Hilliard, what can you say? I just think that there's not enough celebration of what they're achieving despite the circumstances, because everyone wants a national title or bust, and I get that. I really do. But, perspective is really, really valuable right now.
Yeah, and so we'll do that. Justin Hilliard today was fantastic. He had the key interception. That game could have gone very differently. That first drive of the third quarter, Northwestern's coming out. They had all the momentum. They're about to punch it in. They'd hit a couple big plays. And right before the play, and I was sitting next to Bill Landis in the press box, and I didn't say it out loud, but I was thinking it. I said, that's not a good matchup over there. Justin Hilliard is out there on an island in coverage, is cornerback on tight end, basically. Linebacker on tight end. He's playing cornerback. I thought that's got to be where this football's going. Justin Hilliard goes up and makes the most important play of his career. He also recovers the fumble later. He was everywhere making tackles today, a couple tackles for loss. After 6 years, think about that, and too many injuries to even name, to play like that. I thought long and hard about giving him the MVP award. I wish that this was like other bowl games where they give one on offense and defense, because he's not going to get enough credit or remembered maybe for the way that Trey Sermon will in this game. But Justin Hilliard, I mean, enjoy your celebration, my man, because you earned it.
Yeah, everyone, I love Justin Hilliard. Just as a person, his family is great. The things that he's had to go through in these last 6 years, and to get that opportunity because Baron Browning, who's had to go through so much of his own stuff, is out. It's just, again, I'm going to keep beating that horse, I think, but like, perspective matters. And the Buckeyes are a day away from finding out their fate as far as the college football playoff. We both firmly believe that they're going to be in the playoff no matter what happens with Clemson and Notre Dame, no matter what happens with Alabama, Florida. I know that there's going to be those people who think that A&M should be in over them, but again, that's tomorrow's conversation. Celebrate. I mean, we're a week before Christmas. We have no idea where we're going to be spending the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's a good day for Buckeyes fans. 4th straight Big Ten title. To win this game with, again, Justin Fields playing the worst game of his life. Ryan Day seeming to be...
I would say that was the worst play calling game that he's had in his career at Ohio State.
Totally agree. I think he was trying to do way too much, trying to get way too cute for whatever reason. It was obvious from the very beginning of the game that the Buckeyes were going to be able to run the ball down Northwestern's throats if they wanted to. And for some reason, I think maybe it's because he wanted Justin to get into a rhythm and wanted him to start to feel comfortable. I think the one thing that maybe we're not talking about, Chris Olave is more than just a really good receiver. He is the security blanket. Garrett Wilson is like the superstar, the flashy play guy. But Chris Olave is I know where he's going to be every play. I know he's going to be open. And if I'm in trouble, I look to him. There were multiple times in this game when Julian Fleming, playing Olave's position, was open, and Justin Fields didn't throw the ball to him. And I think it's just because he doesn't have that trust. And you take away that security blanket and you see a quarterback that looked a little bit skittish for the first time in a long time.
All right, well, Justin Fields and the sprained thumb or strain, however that turns out, he's going to get some medical attention on that. We'll talk about that later. Big Ten, I talked to Kevin Warren on Friday. Seemed to be, I left that conversation thinking that the rule for COVID protocol would change. The Big Ten rule will apply to Ohio State in the college football playoff. That is a conversation for Sunday or Monday. Where is the Rose Bowl going to be played? We'll talk about all of that later. For now, we're going to wrap up a very loud and
really sorry about all that,
and horn-heavy edition of Rapid Reaction, brought to you by Byers Auto.
Welcome to 2020.
On this note, hey, we're trying to get through it just like the Buckeyes did out here.
Anything can happen this year.
22-10, Ohio State are the 4-time consecutive Big Ten champions. The College Football Playoff Selection Show is tomorrow as the Buckeyes wait for the next step, that next mission, as they call it. He's Burnham, I'm Austin Ward. This has been Rapid Reaction, brought to you by Byers Auto. Stay with us at lettermenrow.com.